Breaking news from WWE that will absolutely shock you to your core. Femi has officially joined the Vision, but not in the way anyone expected. Bron Breakker has been blindsided in what might be the most disgusting betrayal in recent WWE history. Seth Rollins is reportedly furious backstage. Tensions are at an all-time high, and according to multiple sources, The Rock's recent involvement has sent shockwaves through the entire company that could change WWE forever. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal will make you question everything you thought you knew about WWE's direction. What's up, WrestleScope family? Welcome back to the channel where we bring you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the unfiltered truth about what's really happening in WWE. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button right now, because we're about to dive into one of the most controversial situations WWE has seen in years, and trust me, you do not want to miss a single second of this. Today, we're breaking down the explosive developments surrounding Femi's shocking alignment with the Vision, the brutal betrayal of Bron Breakker that nobody saw coming, the very real backstage heat involving Seth Rollins that WWE desperately wants to keep quiet, and the elephant in the room that everyone is talking about but few have the courage to address, how The Rock's recent involvement may have single-handedly ruined the momentum WWE had built over the past year. I know that last statement is going to make some of you angry. Good. Leave your thoughts in the comments because we need to talk about this as a community. But before you come at me, hear me out, because the evidence is damning. The Vision gains power. Femi's shocking addition. Let's start with what happened this week that has the entire WWE universe divided. Femi, the absolute powerhouse who has been tearing through NXT like a wrecking ball, has officially aligned himself with the Vision. Now, on the surface, this makes sense, right? The Vision has been positioning themselves as the future of WWE, the next generation ready to take over. Femi is that next generation. But here's where it gets interesting. And by interesting, I mean controversial. According to sources close to the situation, Femi's addition to the Vision was not organic. This wasn't a natural progression of storyline. This was a mandate from higher-ups who are desperately trying to give the Vision the credibility they've been severely lacking since their formation. And why do they lack credibility? Because WWE Creative has failed to book them properly since day one. Think about it. The Vision was supposed to be this dominant, unstoppable force. They were supposed to be the faction that would revolutionize WWE. But what have they actually accomplished? A handful of mid-card wins? Promos that sound like they were written by a corporate algorithm? Exactly. So WWE, in their infinite wisdom, decided they needed to inject some real star power into the group. Enter Femi. The man is legitimately one of the most impressive physical specimens in all of professional wrestling. He's got the look, he's got the intensity, he's got the in-ring ability. On paper, this should elevate the Vision to new heights. But here's the problem, and this is where I need you to really listen. By adding Femi to the Vision, WWE has essentially admitted that the original members weren't good enough to carry the faction on their own. They've admitted failure. And instead of taking the time to properly develop the characters we already had, they're throwing another body into the mix, hoping that Femi's natural charisma will somehow make us forget about the months of terrible booking that came before. And let's be brutally honest here. The Vision has been boring. I said it. They've been putting audiences to sleep. Their promos are generic. Their matches, while technically sound, lack that it factor that makes you want to jump out of your seat. They feel manufactured. They feel like a corporate committee sat in a boardroom and said, "We need a stable. Make it happen." There's no soul to it. Femi has soul. Femi has presence. And now WWE is gambling that his presence will somehow transfer to the rest of the Vision and make them relevant. But what does this mean for Femi himself? This is a guy who was on an incredible trajectory in NXT. He was being built as a singular force of nature, a monster who didn't need a faction, a competitor who could stand on his own 2 feet and demolish anyone put in front of him. Now, he's just another spoke in the wheel, another member of a faction that has already proven they don't know what they're doing. I want to know your thoughts on this. Is Femi's addition to the Vision a brilliant move that will finally give the faction the edge they need? Or is this WWE wasting one of their most promising young talents by throwing him into a directionless group? Comment below because I'm genuinely curious where the WrestleScope family stands on this. Bron Breakker's betrayal, the shocking turn. Now, let's talk about the betrayal. And this one hurts, folks. This one legitimately stings because of what it represents. Bron Breakker, the future of WWE, The second-generation superstar who was supposed to carry the company into the next decade has been betrayed by the vision in the most brutal fashion imaginable. Here's what went down, and if you haven't seen the footage yet, prepare yourself. Bron Breakker was in the middle of what appeared to be a respectful exchange with members of the Vision. Now, there have been rumors for weeks that WWE was considering adding Breakker to the faction. It made sense from a storyline perspective. Breakker has been vocal about wanting to surround himself with like-minded individuals who are focused on winning and dominating. The Vision, at least in theory, represent those same values. So when they approached Breakker with what seemed like an offer to join their ranks, many of us thought, okay, this could work. This could be the alliance that finally makes the Vision matter. But what happened next was disgusting. Just as Breakker extended his hand in what appeared to be acceptance of their offer, the Vision attacked. Not a competitive attack, not a we need to test you attack, a vicious, calculated assault designed to humiliate and destroy Bron Breakker. And here's the kicker. Oba Femi was right there, the newest member of the Vision, participating in the beatdown of one of WWE's top stars, a man who has done nothing but work his tail off to represent WWE at the highest level. This betrayal isn't just about the shock value. It's not just about the swerve. This betrayal represents something much more sinister about WWE's current creative direction. WWE has a problem with building stars organically. They have a problem with patience. Instead of allowing Bron Breakker to naturally develop rivalries, instead of letting his character breathe and grow, they throw him into these convoluted faction war angles that serve no purpose other than to create moments for social media. Bron Breakker doesn't need the Vision. Bron Breakker doesn't need to be betrayed by the Vision. Bron Breakker needs meaningful feuds with top-level talent that will elevate him to main event status. But WWE doesn't think that way anymore. WWE thinks in terms of content. They think in terms of what will get people talking on Twitter, instead of what will make people care about these characters in 6 months. The betrayal of Bron Breakker is a short-term play. It'll get people talking this week, but next month, next year, nobody's going to remember this as the moment that made anyone. They're going to remember it as another example of WWE fumbling the ball with a generational talent. And let's talk about the execution of the betrayal itself. It was sloppy. The camera work was terrible. You could barely see who was doing what to whom. The announcer seemed confused about what was happening. If you're going to do a major betrayal angle, if you're going to turn the WWE universe on its head, you need to nail the execution. This needed to be shot like a major moment in cinema. This needed to have weight and consequence. Instead, it felt like a segment that was thrown together in the last minute because someone in creative realized they needed to do something to justify Oba Femi's addition to the Vision. I'm frustrated, folks. I'm frustrated because Bron Breakker deserves better. He deserves to be in the main event scene right now. He deserves to be in feuds with the top guys. Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, CM Punk. Those are the feuds that will make Bron Breakker a star. Not this faction nonsense, not this betrayal angle that will be forgotten in 3 weeks. WWE, if you're listening, please do better by Bron Breakker. This man is too talented to be wasted in mid-card faction warfare. The Seth Rollins in the backstage heat. Now, let's get into the really juicy stuff. The stuff WWE doesn't want you to know about. The stuff that's happening behind the curtain while we're all distracted by what's happening in the ring. Seth Rollins is furious. And when I say furious, I mean legitimately angry about the direction of WWE's creative decisions, particularly as they relate to the Vision storyline and Bron Breakker's involvement. Multiple sources, and I mean multiple independent sources who have proven reliable in the past, have confirmed that Seth Rollins had a heated confrontation with members of WWE's creative team this week. The topic? The handling of younger talent and the wasteful booking decisions that are becoming more and more common. Now, Seth Rollins has always been someone who cares deeply about the wrestling business. He's not someone who just shows up, does his job, and goes home. Seth is invested in the future of WWE. He's invested in making sure the next generation is properly prepared and properly positioned to succeed. And what he's seeing right now is alarming him. According to sources, Seth specifically mentioned Bron Breakker by name during this confrontation. He reportedly said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that WWE is repeating the same mistakes they always make by throwing talented young stars into mean-to-most in action angles instead of giving them real feuds with real stakes. Seth Rollins is absolutely right. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Seth's frustration isn't just about Bron Breakker. It's about the entire structure of how WWE is handling talent development right now. He's concerned that WWE is so focused on creating content for their multiple platforms that they've forgotten the fundamental rule of professional wrestling. Characters matter. Stories matter. Long-term booking matter. You can't just throw people together and expect magic to happen. You can't just create factions because factions are hot right now. You need to have a reason. You need to have a purpose. You need to have a destination in mind. The Vision has no destination. They have no clear goal. They have no reason to exist beyond we're the future. Okay, great. What does that mean? What are you fighting for? What do you want to accomplish? These are basic storytelling questions that WWE Creative seems incapable of answering right now. And Seth sees this, Seth knows this, and he's not afraid to speak up about it, which is why there's reportedly heat between him and certain members of the creative team. Now, some of you might be thinking, why does Seth Rollins care so much? He's got his spot, he's a main eventer, he's set for life.
And that's exactly the wrong way to think about it. He cares because he remembers what it was like to be a young talent trying to break through. He remembers the Shield. He remembers how important it was that the Shield was properly booked from day one. They had a clear purpose. They were here to bring justice to WWE. Whether you agreed with their methods or not, you understood what they were fighting for. The Vision doesn't have that. And Seth sees guys like Bron Breakker and Oba Femi being thrown into this directionless faction, and he knows it's going to hurt them in the long run. But here's the really concerning part about all of this. WWE doesn't seem to care about Seth's concerns. According to sources, the creative team essentially brushed off his complaints and told him to trust the process. They assured them that they know what they're doing and that everything will make sense eventually. That's code for we don't actually have a plan, but we're hoping it works out. And that is why Seth is frustrated, because he's seen this movie before. He's seen WWE throw away talented performers because they didn't have a proper plan for them. He's seen careers derailed because creative got lazy or lost interest. Seth Rollins doesn't want to see that happen to the next generation. And honestly, we should all be grateful that someone with his influence and his credibility is willing to stand up and fight for better booking decisions. The question is,